And welcome everybody to another episode of Satsang for the Soul. My name is Mark Bentley. I'm tuning in from Perth in Western Australia, and I'm joined this morning on our side of the world and this evening over there on the East Coast and the United States and everywhere else by Lee Grain over in the Philippines. So Lee, welcome. Welcome. Here we are yet again for another week to take a time out of the busyness. How are you feeling?
Good morning, good evening. I feel great. I feel that the weather has shifted where I am and the air is cooler.
Mm.
So it feels kind of nice. Christmas is just around the corner. We don't really celebrate Thanksgiving here, but every day is a good moment to be thankful.
Absolutely.
Um, Here in the Philippines, we start Christmas songs when the Burman starts to roll in.
When the what starts to roll in, sorry?
The Burman, September, October, November.
Okay. I think Felix would love to hear that.
The Burmans,
The
yes.
bird months.
September. The moment some people put up their trees already by September.
Wow. Wow.
And Christmas carols are in the air. I think it's
Yeah.
great. You have 4 months to feel that festivity.
Mm, indeed. Indeed. Beautiful. Well, for those that haven't watched, just a little practicalities. Welcome to the Satsang. This is a conversation that Lee and I have every week, same time, same channel. Well, a little bit of changes as the times change around the world in all their chaotic ways. But so it's 9 p.m. EST will be the time going forwards. And we really just drop into, feeling into the themes that are around the planet. Really that, looking at what are the impulses that are kind of collectively happening. Because when you kind of take a bigger eagle eye perspective of what's happening in the world, you can see that it's not, just me and you or somebody that's struggling or having a challenge or going through this growth. It's a whole planetary movement that shares a lot in common when we see it from the bigger picture. So if you're enjoying the conversation, feel free to join us either in the Zoom room where you can join in the chat and contribute there. Or if you're watching the YouTube channel, it is live stream. I am watching the chat there as well. So feel free to say hello and join in. And we always love to have, if there's any volunteers at the end of the show, we like to do a little free little dream spell. It's like a Mayan astrology. I always hesitate to say astrology, Lee, but it's the best way to understand it, really. It's like a Mayan astrological report that Lee and I will weave together for one of the lucky live attendees. So, and with all that aside, how are you feeling with bringing us in with some music, Lee? You ready to
Hmm.
help us ground into the now?
Yeah, let's. Mm. The kin for today is the red crystal earth. And we are in the wave spell still of the White World Bridger. And can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Red crystal earth. Yeah, it's all about slowing down today. And I've chosen a song that has a beautiful line that says, "Let go of your heart, let go of your head, and feel it now."
Mm,
Mm. This
perfect.
one's called. This one's called Babylon. Friday night, I'm going nowhere. All the lights are changing green to red. Turning over TV stations, situations running through my head. Looking back through time, it's clear that I've been blind, I've been a fool. To open up my heart to all that jealousy, that bitterness, that ridicule. Saturday, I'm running wild, and all the lights are changing red to green. Moving through the crowds, I'm pushing chemicals are rushing in my bloodstream. I only wish that you are here. You know I'm seeing it so clear. I've been afraid to show you how I really feel. Admit to some of those bad mistakes I've made. If you want it, come and get it. Crying out loud. The love that I was giving you was never end out. Go your heart, let go your head, and feel it now. Let go your heart, let go your head, and feel it now. Babylon, Babylon, Babylon. Sunday, all the lights in London shining, sky is fading red to blue. Kicking through the autumn leaves and wondering where it is you might be going to. Turning back for home, you know I'm feeling so alone, I can't believe. Climbing on the stair, I turn around to see you smiling there in front of me. If you want it, come and get it. Crying out loud. The love that I was giving you was never end out. Let go your heart, let go your head, and feel it now. Let go your heart, let go your head, and feel it now. Babylon, Babylon, just letting go of everything that it took for us to be here right now. And just being in the present moment. Slowing down with our breath. With this music. Go your heart, go your head, and feel it now. Let go your heart, let go your head, and feel it now. Let go your heart, let go your head, and feel it now. Babylon, 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 Babylon.
You know, it's hard to break the silence after that, Lee. It just feels like more and more every week we're just dropping out. I know we say this every week, but it's just feeling that flow. And what a beautiful song choice, and how powerful the words are. Just like you say, letting go of everything and dropping into the frequency of, you know, that presence. And I think that's what's so beautiful about music and the voice and singing, storytelling in whatever form, is how it provides an anchor, you know, into this moment, into this space where the very vibrations are so tangible that it's like they literally play on the heartstrings. You know, it's so funny that you're playing an instrument, whether it be your voice and your guitar, and the very sounds that you're creating are playing another instrument, the human heart, right? And then strumming those strings in our hearts and just waking up emotion, waking up feelings, waking up that essence of which is really what you're saying there. You know, let go of the head, let go of the mind, let go, just be here, let go of the heart, just be in that space. And so with that heartfelt joy in there right now, I want to reach out and just say a little thank you to our brother Alex, who is holding the fort as always, the Clout Forum founder and dear friend and brother of mine. And we've got Ready Player One, the magical Luca. And Luca is with us as well. And he was saying just before you began, let's go Lee and Mark, and sent his love in the chat there. So we got a few of the crew watching. And so I just want to say thanks to you guys for joining us. You know, this is something we envision. We hold the fort here, but, you know, the more that can join us in creating the conversation together, you know, that it'll be less about the Mark and Lee show, the Lee and Mark show, and more about, you know, how we can be an anchor for the collective to really bring us back into the moment during these wild times. So welcome.
Wow, warm hello to Alex, of course, and to Luca. Nice to virtually meet you.
We haven't done Luca's signature, have we? I don't think we have. Hey, Luca, if you're still watching, brother. Oh, sorry, Lee, you go.
No, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, Luca, we like to have a volunteer towards the end of the session to do a little Mayan astrology reading for you. So if you're up for it, you just need to flick us your date of birth. If you're happy putting it in there in the YouTube chat, otherwise throw it into the Zoom meeting. Either way, if you're up for it, we'd appreciate it. We'd have a lot of fun sharing it with you. Beautiful. So Lee, you mentioned earlier, you know, and we're in the wave spell of the White World Bridger, the 12th day here in our side of the world. It's still the 11th over in the States. And, you know, like you said, this red crystal world bridger, this crystal tone. And this was something I was pondering this morning, Lee, you know, contemplating while I was going about the morning. I got up out of bed and I went to do breakfast with Felix, and, you know, I just dropped the bowl full of muesli and cereal and milk, and I had two in my hands and I just dropped it and it just fell. And crazy enough, I caught it again, right? I caught it upside down with a handful of muesli and milk pouring out all around my hand and muesli pouring out everywhere else. But I caught some of it. And it made an absolute mess in the morning. And usually I tend to have enough time to get everything done, but not a lot of spare. And that kind of threw a spanner in the works. And I caught myself at a choice point where I could go into the victim and just like, and then I just breathed into it. Felix ran up and offered help. And I just took a breath, relaxed, and okay, this is just what's here. This is the synchronicity of the morning. This is just what's playing out. This has triggered something in me, and that's okay. Just do whatever step is next. Like, you know, don't stress. And then I was out. And meanwhile, I've got this whole concept of these last 3 days, which I'll touch on in a sec, flowing in my head. And then when we go to the school pickup, we've balanced, everything balanced back out again. The synchronicity, timing flowed. It actually worked out okay. So all that stress I was about to start feeling, it wouldn't have changed anything. It wouldn't have helped anything. And actually, just by calming, I was able to just be present with the ritual of the morning and trusting that, okay, things have been moved about a bit, and just trust it'll work out. And I have to admit, putting the Healy on helped with some stress relief and things like that. The frequencies were very supportive. But then on the car drive out, Lee, I was driving to drop Felix off to school. It's just up the road and we're surrounded by bush. It's gorgeous. Every morning it's this beautiful drive. And on the drive out, someone was flashing their lights at me. And I thought, this is really strange at, 35 past 8 in the morning. And And they were flashing their lights. And I thought, there's a strange energy about today. What's going on here? And as we got closer to the school, like literally just a few hundred meters away from the school, there was a couple of cars parked up on the side of the street, and there was a bike on the side, and I think it was an old lady, may have been an old man, but an elderly person lying down unconscious. And at that moment, it was one of those things that just strikes hard. It's like, here I was, potentially getting really upset over literally spilt milk. And yet somewhere else, not far away, an entire person's life is upturned. Now, I'm hoping they're okay. The ambulance came right after us. There was people looking after them, and they didn't look stressed out and panicked. So hopefully it was just exhaustion and all the rest. I'm sure we'll hear later on within the community. But it kind of really hit me this morning, and put things, it was almost like life was, like a blacksmith, heats up a sword, right? When they're making a sword, they heat the metal up and then they hammer it. And the hammering is what makes the metal strong, right? It's it's through the heating and then the hammering. And it's almost like that was what I was going through this morning, like that we all go through all the time in different kind of calibers. But, it was a very obvious feeling of being heated up in my experience with the bowl dropping. And then being hammered with this kind of awakening of like, you think you've got it rough? Like there's people out there, there's every day, everywhere in all of our history, there are people going through challenges at all times. There are people going through things that we wouldn't imagine that humans could ever go through. And it was a kind of awakening a little bit of just gratitude, real gratitude for what I have. And also a practice of seeing their suffering, but also it was a strange thing in just driving past it, because it was this thing like I saw that person had people around. I could feel the energy was calm, and then the ambulance came before I went back past. So I knew that people were tending, and watching that feeling that feels, what should I be doing? Should I be helping? And then realizing, well, the help is there. The love is there. So I'm going to just hold presence and what some would call prayers for this person, this situation, but also don't let it be wasted in vain for the power that it can have on the passerbyers, the power that I can have from this awakening to gratitude for my own well-being, which some people would, feel bad about doing. But I felt like rather than feeling terrible for the rest of the day, how about I make the most of it in that sense? And it just made me think about this white world bridger wave spell that we're in, which, we as we talked about last week, is very symbolic of death. It's very symbolic of surrender, of letting go of control, and letting go of things that are no longer relevant to our present moment. And I've seen a lot of death. I've seen a lot of hurt, and I've seen a lot of challenges through this process. I've seen people go through very heavy things. But I've also recognized, and this is what the blue planetary eagle, the 10th day, which is all about, how do we manifest this in a graceful way? And it's this blue eagle energy, it's this blue eagle archetype, which is all about rising up, right? And getting the bigger picture. Because when you're deep in the serpent's belly, when you're belly to the ground and you're in the middle of fiery action and you're middle of tragedy, or you're in the middle of, conflict, or whatever it is that's around you, it can be very easy to get lost, in that survival instinct and to kind of just react. And reaction is old patterns. So if we want to change during those times, just like when I had that bowl and it was falling out of my hand, that reaction was important to quickly swivel my hand around and grab it. That was a healthy reaction to do a momentary change to try and save a situation. Now, if I'd have continued with that serpent energy, I would have been a raging mess within 5 minutes. But once it had served its purpose, I needed to pull back. I needed to pull out of that emotional turbulence and kind of get that bigger perspective of, hang on. Okay, this is just one part of my morning. There's a bigger picture at play here, something bigger, some cosmic plan, I can rewrite the story of this moment to be a growth moment for me and respond instead of react. And to me, that's what these days we're in right now that we're moving through. The 10th day, 2 days ago, is all about, okay, what's the bigger picture? When you look at it from above, what are all of these challenges pointing towards? What is the transformation heading towards? What are we seeing happen? And then the 11th day is saying, now let go of this process and call upon the fierceness of the pathfinder. Call upon the courage to not give up. It's almost, to me, this yellow spectral warrior energy that America is still in right now is kind of that energy of get up, brush off your shoulders. Now let's go find the way forwards. Now that we've let the fire burn through the woods and all the old wood is burnt up and all the old stuff is gone, new pathways have been uncovered that weren't there before. So now, instead of reacting and getting lost in the old story, have the courage to open your heart and fearlessly question what is around you to find what is the next direction for me, right? And then we move into today's energy, the red crystal earth, which is, how does the warrior find the path? How does the warrior find the way? It's not through the mind. Like you say, let go of the mind. It's through synchronicity. And synchronicity is a word I think is used a lot, but deeply misunderstood by many. And for me, synchronicity is basically the synchronization of gears, cogs coming together. You're a cog in the human mechanism, and I'm a cog. We're all different cogs with different, aspects we're bringing in. And synchronicity is about getting the mind out of the way, that masculine logical mind out of the way, so that we can actually hear the whisperings of the earth that help guide us, the synchronicities, the right timings. Like this incident that happened on the way could be looked at as a tragedy. And for some it will be, potentially, maybe, I don't know. But rather than my mind getting caught up in that, it's a sign. It was a moment, a reminder of the earth for me, of what's important, of family, of community, of nurturing, of caring, of love, and realizing then that's a good sign that the warrior in me needs to walk that path. What does that, and now it's for me to question, what does that look like? Looking at the synchronicities that turn up today and around us. And so thanks for just letting me express that. That was just this morning was a really, and it kind of only just dawned on me as you were playing the music in that sense.
Thank you for sharing. Oh. Doing some space for silence there in between. Yeah, I think it's so nourishing to have some comfortable silence in between the talking. I think that's one of the things that is important in the art of conversation sometimes. Let the other person just absorb everything that was shared, everything that was said, especially if there's a lot of gems or things to contemplate within what was shared. And instead of responding right away, just listening. Just listening with intent, being here to listen, not listening to respond. And that's really, truly what the red earth represents, is active listening and not rushing. And actually, that's the challenge of the earth, the red earth. Is the red challenge of the day is the blue hand, which is its opposite, its polarkin. And the blue hand, it's all about accomplishments. And in essence, this is the example could be the rabbit or the hare. And the red earth is the turtle or the tortoise. And there are two opposite energies. The other one is very slow, very purposeful. The other one is very fast, can do so many things, can hop and reach. It's just like the bunny rabbit, even have a battery named after one, an Energizer bunny. because it's so fast. It can accomplish so much, you know. And that is the challenge for today. How to not get whatever situation we are in to just go into the next phase, and how we can still accomplish things despite, taking our time. Taking our time. And yes, we're still in the white world bridger wave spell, which is, we were here last week. Time has been so elusive for me lately. It's so wonderful. Um, it does feel like it's been so long since our last time, last week that we saw each other. It feels like life
It's
has been
amazing, huh?
so full. And sometimes it feels like it's been so fast, like it feels like, oh, it feels just like yesterday. But then sometimes, oh, it feels like there's a lot that happened in that time frame. And White World Bridger, letting go. And that is one of the phrases that's been used so many times too. I mean, especially now, another buzzword of letting go what no longer serves. It
Mm.
is beautiful to contemplate. And, we think about what that really means. Say, I'm letting go of what no longer serves me. And I think, and this is what I think, and don't take my word for it. And what I think about that phrase is that, when we say, "Oh, I let go of this issue in my life because it's not serving me anymore," then we wonder, didn't I let go of this already in the last fire ceremony? And I'm still triggered by this thing because what I think is that, yeah, in our minds, it's easy to say, I'm dusting myself off of this issue. I don't want this anymore. I'm letting go of this. Or literal, I'm letting go of this person
Mm.
that's weighing me down. I'm letting go of this relationship. It doesn't serve me anymore. But if we fail to understand what they represent, we're just going to switch roles. Later on, somebody else is going to come in the form of, relationship. And then 13 moons later, same thing, you'll find yourself in front of a fire ceremony trying to let go of what no longer serve you. And I'm just like, I'm just using this to make light of it, with no disrespect to the process. you know what I'm trying to say is that, yes, we can go through sacred rituals and ceremonies, but we cannot bypass the inner work that it requires, so it can truly be let go of, so it can just truly die
Hmm.
completely and fully. So yes, the ceremonies, the rituals, all of this that we are doing for ourselves, it is incredible because ancient peoples have been doing this for millennia. But it's also not a one-time pill that's going to magically help all of those disappear. The shamans, they can show us the door, the bridge. They can open that door, but it is us who must walk through that door. And before we can enter that door in this white world bridger, first we must die.
Mm.
Whatever it is in the past that we are letting go of, that must die first. We cannot carry that baggage with us as we go forward. Because even if we walk through a new door as a white world bridger, is always there. Every 20 days, it will be a white world bridger day. And every so often, it will be a white world bridger wave spell. It is so generous that life, universe is always presenting us with opportunities so that we can enlighten ourselves. So we can shed layers of who we are that we have already learned. But I think that's the key word is, have we learned something? And it's only us that can really answer that question. What is it that we need to learn from our experiences? What is it that our difficult partner is showing us? What is this relationship that's rotting represent for me? What am I not seeing here? And perhaps when we ask these questions and we go into meditation or when we go into prayer and ask the benevolent forces, ask the divine, the spirit to show us what we are missing so that we can process it, so we can feel it. And the key is to feel. Because sometimes when we feel something and it's too intense, we just want to brush it and just say, okay, it's not happening. I don't want to get into that. Oh, that's too serious. No, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to drink and I'm just going to forget about it. And that's what we do. We go about life when things are trigger and it hurts so much emotionally, especially with men, not generalizing, but in our culture, men are taught not to process emotions because it's considered as weakness. But if we don't process it, it's just going to fester up inside and it will result later in like domestic violence because we're not any violence that we do towards another is because we are suffering an inner violence that we cannot overcome. So, what do you feel in your life if you're listening to this? When you feel yourself super angry sometimes and you lash out to people, but they're not really the one because there's something inside that's ready to be let go of, and they're helping you let go of that. And that sentence can be taken in many different directions. And I do not mean that when somebody hurts you and does something criminally wrong, that you just like say, okay, I forgive you and thank you for teaching me that lesson. That's not what I'm saying here. Because we do not need to commit crimes to one another just to show a lesson. There is something, that's so many layers within that I don't want to get into that tangent, but yes, always look for the silver lining in things. It's such a potent time to really let go, and I always, and as you know, I've always used this example of cleaning, decluttering. I am. It's not that I am a clean freak, but I am.
I'm not
nice
a clean
because
freak, but I am.
I think that is all about. I like to see things. I like to see space around myself.
Yeah.
I like to see order because if I don't, I know that my mind also gets cluttered. So I think this is something that I've developed through the years and not because of an OCD complex to really need to be in control, because I don't need to be in control because there are some days that I just let things not be clean. But I know if I let that happen, I notice that my how I'm working is not on point. How I'm
Mm.
speaking is not on point because there is a lot of clutter in my space and I need to organize that. So I can organize my thoughts, I can organize my week, I can organize, and in essence, you're organizing your life. So White World White World Bridger wave spell. Do you have a lot of stuff in your home that you need to let go of? There's so many people that could use them too, if you're really not using them and you're just keeping them, and they have no real it's not a memorabilia that is really special that's given to you by your you know departed loved one, something that really is special for you, but things that are lying down in your house. When we look at these concepts of the 13 moon dream spell, it doesn't always have to be deep. It can also just be practical.
Mm.
And this is my practical advice for this wave spell. Let go. Sell that stuff that you've been wanting to sell and get a new one. It's going to feel so good. You know, you don't know when you let go of something of what's going to come after. So make space, let go, get rid of stuff. And yeah, it's going to feel so light. It could even be hair. Get rid of hair. Not you, Mark.
I've done the best I can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what's funny, Lee? I was dropping off and one of the many different, I hesitate to call them jobs, missions that I run each week is helping out a dear friend of mine, landlord actually of the property, but taking gin, which we make in the property, to different restaurants and things. And I was at this fine restaurant called the Emily Taylor Restaurant. It was named after quite a mysterious woman. And I was there talking to the bar manager, who I hit it off really well with. It's like he reminds me of myself, like 15 years ago, when I was in that industry, and we were looking around and we were talking about management. We were talking about running things and the importance of these things, and he was talking about his frustration of people not having the lens in the way they look at the workplace. And he was talking about, like, even just when they brought, for example, the bar towels. Someone came and brought them and just stuck them on the bar bench in the view of all the customers. And he was like saying these things, these small things, where they just put it there instead of where they belong, which is a little bit further along, instead of waiting for the bartender to come and put them away. There's all these little things that people could be doing. And I said to him, it's like, one day we'll scientifically validate this in a way that will be accepted. That, when people talk about feng shui, they talk about the energy of an environment. It's a real thing. Studies have shown that a messy bedroom, a messy office creates a less fluid study space, workspace. They can see the efficiency, the tendency to miss details, the tendency to forget things. The messier your room is, the messier your mind will be. Now, for a creative artist, sometimes that's actually a good thing, right? That's why some artists will have absolute chaos in their studio, but that's how they creatively connect to these wild kind of streams of thought. But they still need to have their paints in order, otherwise they're screwed. They've got nothing to paint with. And so I think it's funny that you bring this up, because it is legitimately what for the last 48 hours has been a topic of conversation in many different places. And I was even, between Alex with Clark Forum saying, it's so much going, we need to just make sure we're breathing and finding that pace. And a good friend of mine wrote to me, my dear brother Jason writes me this morning, just checking in I was okay, because I hadn't replied to some messages. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just cleaning house. I'm going internal a little bit. He goes, do you need anything? I said, just patience while I go inwards and clean inside my mind, inside my house, inside my commitments to reflect and contemplate what is correct for me? What is it that spirit is kind of drawing me to work with right now? And where am I pulling my energy too thin? Speaking to what you were saying, Lee, Richard Rudd from the Gene Keys, he says, around the 23rd gene key, the shadow of complexity, which is one I hold close to my heart. He says, if you're suffering from complexity in your life, then working with your hands is a great way to move through that. And working with your hands in also then cleaning house. And he says, in order to live an exquisite life through this simplicity, to have this a potent life that gives you every bit of juice that it can give you, then you should only surround yourself with either things that are practical, that bring value through, they're very useful to your current times, or they bring beauty. If they don't bring beauty to your house, so if that means it's stuck in a cupboard, it's not bringing beauty to your house. If a painting is on a wall, it is bringing beauty to your house. So it's about going through and really just using those simple guidelines and looking at that with your work as well. Like exactly like you're saying, is I'm looking at this with my work and going, am I bringing beauty to the world through the projects I'm working on? Or is it bringing real world use? Because if it's not, why am I doing it?
Good contemplation, because you know the blue hand, um, what we are seeing in the world, well, rather the distortion of what we're seeing in the world is that the more we accomplish, supposed to be the more beauty we create, because what follows the blue hand is the yellow star in the archetype. So in that story, the more that we accomplish, the more that we create, the more beauty can be created as that follows. But what's happening is that in the world, the more that we create in the industrial, um, way of creating, is the more disharmony that we create. Meaning, the modern life is ruining. You know, sometimes you need to remove an entire forest to create your modern villages and stuff. So the more that we create, that's a good question. Are we creating beauty the more that we do things, the more that we accomplish, or are we only creating more things, more ugliness in the world? What are we adding? So that's a good one. Thanks for that.
Right. And like you say with the red earth, it takes slowing down and really, and I think it's almost like, we see this yellow warrior energy come right before that red earth. It's almost like one could kind of go, well, shouldn't it be the slowing down first, then the fierce warrior energy that wakes up to then go in the direction? And it's like, well, from my personal experience, it takes a hell of a lot of courage for me to stop and slow down, because I watch, and I've been seeing it really strongly lately. I've actually been brute forcing time to go with my brother. I spend some time with Felix after school. And then when the sunset comes, my brother finishes work on the land, and then we meet up and we go to the top of the hill and we have a gin tonic. We have the sun setting, we have the kangaroos, we debrief about our day. And then you just kind of, once you've debriefed together and you've just kind of vented, then it just kind of flows around and we just sit and just enjoy the beauty we're surrounded by. And I felt like in the beginning, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, it's like, oh, what are you doing? You don't have time for this. You should be back preparing dinner. You got all these different things you got to do. Like, there's washing to be hung out. There's all this stuff, the everyday mundane. But I just kept trusting. And I had to be courageous to trust that what I'm doing is right, because it's scary sometimes. People will project. They'll say, what are you doing? You shouldn't have time for that. But it was really realizing that it actually is not as, it sounds easy. Oh, slow down. Don't do anything. Just stop. But it does take courage. And that's where over these days, I've just started finding myself getting better sleep now. I'm going to bed earlier. I'm not running away from the day. I'm actually going to bed looking forward to the next day. And now I'm starting to notice the water in my mind is getting clearer. And what is important and what is bringing beauty and function to the world through my actions is becoming clearer. And I can actually I can hear my heart whispering what it wants. And I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit scary. How do I get there? And I'm going to have to move things around. And it's like, it's this thing of slowing down. I guess what I'm trying to get at, Lee, is it sounds so sweet and simple, but it actually takes a kind of courageousness to put those moments in.
Slow down could be the most difficult thing for a lot of people right now. Because it's not just like a body slow down, because you could be sitting and laying down for hours, yet your mind is running hundreds of miles an hour.
Right.
And even if you're just physically lying down and not doing anything, you feel so exhausted because your mind has taken you places already. An hour, So music helps. Relaxing music, it really entrains brain waves to just slow down, So if you find that it's very difficult to meditate, you're not alone. There's so many people that are experiencing how challenging that could be to just sit, and it's okay. If you
Mm.
can't sit in silence, put music. Music will entrain your brain waves to just slow down and also connect with the breath. The breath is really what's going to guide the mind. The mind and the breath are one. Wherever the breath is, the mind follows.
Mm.
So don't think your way into slowing down. Just breathe deeply. Breathe deeply and breathe slowly. And after a while, you'll notice that your mind is also shifting and slowing down. So, just some tips.
Mm. Richard used to say in the 50-second gene key that stress cannot live in a well-oxygenated body. He would say, as long as you are breathing, stress can't exist in your body. And it sounds like an oversimplified thing, but if you think of it from like biological mechanics, it's like when you get stressed, what happens? Right? You, the breathing becomes shallow. You think you're breathing, but we don't even realize it. And then the moment you actually bring consciousness, like you say, to your breath, and you all the way, and he would say, breathe into your perineum. And you'd always get a little bit of a chuckle from some of the less mature meditation groups when he would say, breathe into the perineum, that point between your genitals and the anus. And just even in the giggles would also just lighten the space. But, it really is one of the most powerful tools, like to breathe in, because that's that point of survival, right? That base chakra where and if oxygen isn't getting down there, then that's one of the ways that your body gears up, works up the adrenaline, because it says, well, you don't have time to breathe deep. You need adrenaline. You need things pumping because you need to fight. That's what stress is kind of saying. But when you say to that stress, if that's the truth, then how come I just took a deep breath and I'm still alive? So then the survival mechanism, right, goes, do it again. Did it work? I don't know if I can trust this. And that's that courageous part. You have to trust and that you might be in danger, but am I actually safe? And then after a few breaths, all of a sudden that hindbrain goes, well, you wouldn't be able to do 3 deep breaths if you were really in danger. So maybe we're right. Maybe we need to rewrite the program a little bit. And next thing you know, you're rewriting your survival instincts and behaviors to start bringing out some of those ones that don't belong anymore. All by just, like you said, that breath. How simple it can be.
Truly.
Indeed, my dear.
Time.
Indeed.
Time.
Yes, as time flows on.
Slow as in the present moment, where there's that only one time that exists. Everything else is a fabrication of our mind. It's only the now that we really have. Everything.
Absolutely.
Speaking of time, do we have time to dive into Lucas, or did he leave his birthday?
He hasn't left his birthday, so I don't know if he's had to jump off. I know everyone's kind of busy building all around the place. But so Luca, if you did catch this, hopefully you saw the bit. If not, I'll chase him up afterwards. And looking forward to, if you are watching this replay, by the way, because we understand that with time zones and everything, and there's so much happening around the world right now, Lee. This is something that's not just on BitCloud or Facebook or all these worlds. We're in a time which is like I've said so many times recently, but to me, it really feels, not that I was around, but it feels like a post-World War social economic kind of era. Like we're in a time where chaos has shocked through some big things, like when the world wars happened, that have shocked and changed traditional patterns. Economics have been rearranged. And what I'm seeing right now, which is why this conversation and even slowing down with you today is so important for me, especially, is we have more opportunity than we've ever seen at least in my life. I've never seen this much opportunity open up for people to actually break out of that old pattern and get into living on purpose. But it's wild, and I know how busy it can get, and I know how hard it is to make time for yourself. So if you have taken time to watch this and join us, whether it's live or in the replay, I just want to commend you and say, massive respect. And please do drop a comment, let us know, share it out there, and join us live for the next rounds, because we'd love to do some more of the free readings because they're always great fun.
Mm. Yeah, looking forward to that. Today is a crystal day, which is a good day for community, good day to come together for envisioning opportunities, opening opportunities for one another, doors of opportunities for each other. Crystal, when you look at the crystal, it's the same energy. What does it do? It amplifies things. You can program a crystal to amplify what you're trying to manifest, your connection to the divine if you're using a crystal to connect. So a crystal day is the same way. You can amplify your visions, your ideas with a community. This is a good day to come together. And this is a good day for staff meeting, when you're in an organization. It's a good day to really come together around the table and check in. And because here on this day, we can use our minds together for cooperation, to create something for common unity, for a greater purpose. Because on this day, we no longer have our personal agenda. We're not using our minds anymore towards our personal purpose. So the past 12 days, the 10th day is really when we manifest the purpose, when we produce it. And in a way, in our material world, physical world, that purpose has been perfected, produced, manifested. So when we go through the 13-day periods, 13-day wave spells or cycles, 1 to 10 is for personal process. The 11th is an emotional release of that purpose. You're letting go of the energy. You've already manifested it. Let it dissolve. Liberate ourselves from that goal, that purpose. And on the 12th day, the last day for the mind and the mental plane, when the mind is not being used anymore for personal agenda, we've done it, we've perfected it, we've manifested it. Now we can use our mind for a bigger agenda, which is for the entire planet. So this is a great day to come together and really bring our minds together for that bigger purpose, whatever that purpose is.
Aho.
Aho.
Oh, my dear, I think you brought it into a beautiful close with that. And everyone, keep an eye out for Lee's upcoming course. Lee, you are an amazing teacher of this work, and you really walk it, you talk it. I love the way that you're real, you're gritty, you're willing to go to those places which are challenging for others. You don't shy away from the dark side of the light chaser, as they say, and yet you're really just about bringing love into the world and that expression, and I really appreciate that. So everyone, keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's just it felt just like an inspired idea, and I, for the longest time, I there's the self-doubt of thinking like, should I really do it? There's so many other courses out there that just gives you the lowdown of the Mind Dreamspell, and then it's just this feeling that our offerings are all unique, and really stepping into that uniqueness that we offer to the world and it may take a few years to get there, and that's perfectly okay, because you need the years to get really familiarized with something. You know, you can't also teach something that you haven't fully experienced, like in your whole body. Otherwise, we're just parroting what other people say, or our former teachers. So again, that's the yellow human archetype too. You're teaching from wisdom, the elders. Actually, that is my purpose. I'm in the wave spell of the yellow human. The third day of the yellow human wave spell. So activating my bond of being in service, and in a beautiful, inspired meditation, you know, coming across the beautiful work of Stephanie South that really woke me up again. You know, how many times we can wake up to something. And
Right.
that's really what inspired me. So leaving you all with this song, you know, Red Earth is about slowing down, but I'm leaving you with a song. Did I bleep out a little bit? Okay.
No,
Let
you're
me
all good.
switch to my data. I'm all good? I didn't
Yeah,
bleep out or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, perfect. I don't need to. All right, so I know it's a Red Earth Wave spell, and so I'm gonna do Faskar.
Absolutely
The
perfect.
opposite. People say slow down. Yeah, just for the fun of it. Dedicating to the strength. Well, because the Red Earth would, you know, it would only be strengthened by its challenge. So slow and purposeful. Slow and purposeful, yet it achieves so much. I got nothing to prove. You get a fast car. You get a fast car. I get a plan to get us out of here. Been working in a convenience store. Mine is saved, just a little bit of money, and we won't have to drive too far. Across the border and into the city, you and I can both get jobs. Finally see what it means to be living. See, my old man's got a problem. He lives with a bounce the way it is. Said his body's too old for what can I say? His body's too young to be looking like his. My mama went off and left him. She wanted more from life than he could give. I said, somebody's gotta take care of him. So I quit school and that's what I did. Oh, I quit school and that's what I did. Said I remember you were driving in your car. The speed so fast I felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out before us, and your arm felt nice wrap around my shoulder. I had a feeling that I belonged. I had a feeling I could be someone, be someone, be someone. go cruising, entertain ourselves. You stay out drinking late at the bar. You see more your friends than you do with your kids. I always hope for the better. Oh, you find work and I get promoted. We're moving out of the shelter, buy a big house and live in the suburbs. Oh, you get a fast car, say they fast enough so we can fly away. Cruising, entertain ourselves. You still ain't got a job, and I work in a market as a checkout girl, and I don't think so. We'll get better. Thought maybe together you and me would find it. I got no plans, I ain't going nowhere. So take your fast car, keep on driving. So take your fast car. And I remember when we were driving in your car. Speed so fast I felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out before us, and your arm felt good to wrap around my shoulder. I had a feeling that I belong. I had a feeling I could be someone, I'd be someone, I'd be someone. Said I remember when you were driving in your car. Speed so fast I felt like I was drunk. City lights lay out before us, and your arm felt nice wrapped around my shoulder. I had a feeling that I belong, and I had a feeling that I had a feeling that I belong, and I could be someone, I'd be someone. Oh, I could be someone, I'd be someone. I had a feeling that I belong, and I had a feeling that I could be someone, I'd be someone. I could be someone, I'd be someone. I could be someone, I'd be someone. I had a feeling that oh, I am someone, I am someone. Someone, I am someone, I am someone, I am someone. I had a feeling that I'm someone. Oh, yes. Oh, oh, yes, I am. You get a fast car, but said it fast enough so we can fly away. We gotta make a decision. We leave tonight or live and die this way. We leave tonight or live and die this way. We leave tonight or live and die this way. Live life on the fast lane. Be careful on your way. Enjoy the rest of the day, brother. Mwah.
Likewise. Have a magical journey. We'll see you next week. Thanks,
See
Lee.
you. Bless.